Oh yeah. Do you know, when I picked you up in that bar, I didn't think you'd come home with me. But look at us now. Oh yeah. I really like your nose. It's so... Oh yeah. Let's get that top and see what... Oh yeah. Hello and welcome to another whiskey review with me, the Whiskey Novice. Are you well? Are you sitting comfortably? Yes, good. Well, then let us begin. Review number 48, part 8 of my series, A Baker's Dozen, looking at 13, 12-year-old Scottish single malts, and this time we're in Speyside. Speyside, and looking at Glenallachie 12-year-old, non-chill filtered, no colour added, bottled at 46%, all great stuff. Glenallachie has seen a resurgence in the last few years, thanks in no small part to it being purchased by master distiller Billy Walker in 2017 with a small group of his. This one is a mixture of whiskies matured in PX, Oloroso and Virgin Oak casks. And just as a little tidbit, because it does pay to throw it in, I think, this was Ralphie's whiskey for the year 2019. That doesn't matter a lot to distilleries. That maybe doesn't matter a lot to you or I, whatever. But I just like to throw it in. I trust Ralphie's choices, and if he calls this a whiskey for the year, it's generally pretty good, isn't it? So, what's so good about it? Well, you know, this is another one of these whiskies. I said it a few reviews ago about the Deanston 12 that it just, I think it was the Deanston, just jumps out of the glass. Yeah, this is springing out of the glass. It is fresh, sparkly, zingy, citrusy, fruity, malty. It's just all fresh notes. A little lemon sherbet, vanilla or custard powder, I would say. Maybe the influence of that virgin oak there. Slightly floral. Yeah. Yeah, as I said, it just jumps out of the glass. I want to say Speyside, if that means anything, in that Speyside to me tends to have a bit of a feel for it. But this is an incredibly good example of it. There are good ones and bad ones. I think whenever you start the bottle at 40% in Speyside, it tends to lose a lot. When you chill filter in Speyside, it tends to lose a lot. So you get thin, watery versions of Speyside whiskey. But this is a great example of one. Volume bouncing out of that glass, really zingy, fresh, sweet. Lemon and lime, like a a drink, or hard sweets, because there's also cola cubes, I would say, and something that's there in abundance throughout it all: honey. Yeah, lots of honey. I've got a bit of a dry throat. Let's sort that out. Cheers. Bright, sweet delivery. Almost a sparkling feeling to it again, which yet again brings in all that bright, sparkly things that were on the nose. Peppery, slightly oily texture, nice coating with it. As I said, there is Oloroso and PX in here, and it's noticeable, but it's also subtle. So there are raisins, there are sherry notes, mixed pale. There is also biscuit, almost a slight digestive biscuit. Yet again, probably your vanilla influence from that virgin oak cask. Slight cinnamon. The freshness, the brightness, the zinginess, the lemon, citrus tones down. All comes at the start. All comes with that initial sip. But it does tone down, and then those sherry notes, that sherry influence starts to take its part and softens the thing. It's still got plenty of life in it, but when I say it softens it, I mean it rounds it out and brings it back to slightly more flatter, bitter flavors rather than all that bright freshness all the time. So it's very well balanced that way. Yeah, lovely. Still though, still quite bright at the back. Finish. Medium to long. Peppery, but not over. So, you know, it doesn't, not annoyingly so. All I will say about this is I think it's slightly overpriced. It's a great whiskey, don't get me wrong, but expect to pay 40 to 50 pounds for it. And it's maybe not just so readily available. Now, I'm going to actually compare it, and this comparison could all be completely off. As I said, a comparison slash, I also like to give you, an opportunity to try something maybe, but I don't think this will be. I've decided to go because I wanted to stay with Speyside. I did. So I went with the Glenfiddich 15. Now, okay, bottled at 40%, chill filtered, colour added, I believe. I didn't really look too far into it. Pretty much pulled this one off the shelf because you want to go in looking for a comparison here. To me, you would want to be looking for something around. I do have other bottlings from other distilleries which I think would compare better with the Glenallachie, but they're no less hard to get. They're probably even more expensive, so to me at that point it seems a bit silly. So what I'm trying to do is find you an alternative, a comparison, something that, as I said, this you're looking at 40 to 50 pounds. This I think I picked up for 32 pounds. When you get this at the right time, it's an awful lot cheaper. But does it compare in any way? Because, pardon me, if it doesn't, and it's not a good alternative, well then, Anyway, cheers. I didn't add water to that, you may have noticed. Did add water during my tasting notes again. It did some things. It became a little more herbal in the nose. The vanilla turned down a bit. It became soft and softer, slightly more balanced. Yes, it did. Well, I'll give you that. Maybe I should add water here. And there was even little things happening in the finish. I think from memory, I was getting hints of coffee in the finish. But sometimes I think water just softens them a bit. And if you're just looking a bit of bite sometimes, which now that I'm doing this review, I just fancy a little bit of bite. Anyway, here's the Glenallachie. Yeah. Soft, sweet. Nice. Oily. This is incredibly soft. This actually, okay, this is just gone below the shoulder. But there ain't a lot going on here as compared to this. jumping out of the glass. I'm really struggling to find that Glenfiddich 15 at all now. The Glenallachie has just completely overpowered that. Now it's coming. It's been poured a while. It's not. This isn't just a fresh pour. Now it's starting to come, and it's no, they're totally different. Earthy. This is the Solero finish, so it is. It's totally different finish, maturation, everything, but just. Yeah, it's slightly more earthy. There are some citrusy notes in it. Herbal notes. Not a bad palate, but just pales in comparison. Really, really pales in comparison to that Glenallachie. Now, that being said, this may be your poison. This may be what you want as compared to this. Each one of us is different. I was originally going to compare the Deanston 12 with this, but I wanted to stay within Speyside this time and see if I could find something that was a relative comparison or alternative to this. This ain't. It's still a good nose. It's still a good palate, but it's typical of young Glenfiddich. When I say young, 12, 15, in that it's a good start to a night, but when you've went this big early on, that just peels. It needs, that's a good start. This is getting into your flight. This is getting into your journey, I would suggest. Get slightly further down the path a bit. Pick up a bottle of this. You won't be disappointed. It is worthwhile. As I said earlier, Ralphie made it his whiskey for the year 2019. He did that for a reason, because it's good. There you are. That's pretty much it. That's all I really have to say on Glenallachie 12. Excuse me. For now, I'm going to wrap this one. That's the end of episode 48. And I'll just say thank you all for being here once again. Thank you very, very much to my patrons. If you wish to join that patron group, the deets are in the bit down there somewhere. For now, thank you very much. Here's to your good health. Cheers. Hey, thanks for watching my video. Please click and subscribe to be notified of further content.